My name is Brent Wilson. I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I've been a patient of Dr. Wyrick's for about 5 months now. However, I've had health issues for about the past 10 years. It started off, I had some gastrointestinal issues, so I started seeing a gastroenterologist and spent over 2 years with a doctor that was reputed to be the best gastroenterologist in the Rocky Mountain West. And after countless tests and a lot of time and money spent, really wasn't even any closer to a solution after 2 years than I was when I started, and was told to take Imodium to treat my gastrointestinal issues. Then I started developing some chronic fatigue issues and lethargy, and went to see a general practitioner, and he informed me that I was depressed. I was working too hard and I was depressed, and I needed to take an antidepressant, and that didn't work. So I went to see another doctor who tested my thyroid and said, well, you've got severe hypothyroidism. And I spent years taking levothyroxine, Armour Thyroid, liothyronine, Synthroid, you name it, with no real improvement in any of my symptoms. Then I started breaking out with skin rashes and went to see a dermatologist. And dermatologist told me I had a very rare skin rash that you typically see in humid climates, not Idaho. And I'm 40 years old, and started saying to my wife, you know, I'm much too young to have this many issues. There's got to be some type of common denominator here. And luckily for me, my wife was at an event where Dr. Wyrick was speaking and was talking about some of the issues he treats. And at the end of the event, and I was not there at the event, my wife went up to Dr. Wyrick and said, "You've just described my husband. Everything you just described, he's got, all of the issues." I neglected to mention that I had chronic insomnia and had developed sleep apnea, and did a sleep study, and the solution for, those doctors provided for me was to spend the rest of my life sleeping with a CPAP machine, which was a little bit less than desirable in my book. Anyhow, my wife got back from this business meeting and said, "I want you to go see this Dr. Wyrick guy, and let me know what you think." And she actually went with me for the first 2 appointments with Dr. Wyrick. And you know, the first time I met with Dr. Wyrick, I described all of my symptoms. We talked about my past medical history, and he was the first doctor I've met that ever connected the dots. And his feedback was that you clearly have some type of autoimmune issue. It's all related. You're much too young to have this many unrelated, complicated symptoms. We've got to isolate the common denominator that's causing this autoimmune issue for you. So he started throwing out some ideas that I'd never heard before, and to be honest, I had to go home and Google everything he told me to see if it checked out, because I'm a skeptical guy, and I had good reason to be skeptical after 10 years. But I went online and went to Google, and all of the concepts he mentioned to me checked out. And I'd never even heard of chiropractic neurology before my wife mentioned Dr. Wyrick. But I was a bit skeptical. My wife was skeptical. We came down for the first couple sessions and decided to go ahead and commit. We started by doing a series of allergy tests, and confirmed what I had suspected that I had. In my case, it actually turned out to be a gluten intolerance gene as well as celiac disease, so a double whammy when it comes to consuming wheat, rye, or barley products. So in my case, the issue was gluten. We also did a adrenal stress index test and determined that my circadian rhythms were thrown out of whack because my body was stressed out from this autoimmune suppression for so many years. And that was the root cause of my insomnia. Long story short, 5 months later, I feel the best today that I felt in over 10 years, probably since college. I'm losing weight. I have a lot more energy than I've had in years, and my skin rash is just about gone. I don't get the migraine headaches that I used to get. I don't sleep with the CPAP machine. I've made more progress in 5 months with Dr. Wyrick than I made in 10 years with the other doctors. I have volunteered to give this testimony just because of the quality of life improvements I'm experiencing now. I'm not being paid. I actually pay him for his time. And I just feel like I need to get the word out because the improvements I've noticed in 5 months have been dramatic, and everybody deserves to know what he has to offer.